Are we actually live or no? I'm fairly certain we're live. Hopefully everybody is actually seeing me at this point. The ads are being extremely strange on my end, so I'm not actually sure that we are properly live. But in case we are, hello weary travelers and welcome to the Come and Go Tavern. My name is Sheela Ornthalis and I'll be your hostess this afternoon. Today's kitchen special is back bacon sandwiches, and it looks like, I believe it is Erica available for a full service package, if you know what I mean. But if you see anything or anyone else on the menu that you're interested in, just let me know and we'll see what we can do. Today is going to be somewhat experimental. It's the first of what I hope will become a weekly series where I do some work on a TTRPG project that I'm working on, but on stream. This is to kind of help keep me motivated, keep me working when I'm not kind of under the pressure that I've been under the last couple of years, because life has gotten a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but less pressing, which has kind of wrecked my ability to get work done, if you know what I mean. But in any case, might answer some questions if you've got any, but just, mostly here to hang out and do some co-work with yours truly. I have no idea how long I'll be able to go since this is a completely experimental stream, but we will find out together. And like I said, I am hoping to make this a weekly thing. I don't know how long I'll be able to sustain that. It depends largely on, other work projects and things like that that end up coming up over the next month or two. We'll see. As always, I will also be available for comments, questions, and concerns about the tavern, as well as regular old conversation. So don't be afraid to fill out chat with discussion. I've also tried to add in some video game soundtrack stuff over on the actual work screen. I hope it's running, but when I tested it, I could see the audio in OBS, but I could not see the audio other people couldn't hear the audio on my test stream. So once we get over there, let me know if it's actually coming through. I basically just grabbed every video game soundtrack I have and threw them into iTunes and made a playlist. So we're going to be experiencing some pretty broad varieties of genres. So yep, I will see you over there. Oh, and actually, hang on just a second. I need to go and close the door. Okay. All right, we're back. So hopefully the audio from the music player is coming through. I have it filtered the same way that I would filter game soundtracks. So it should be below my speech. If you need me to adjust volume or anything for that, just let me know. And yeah, we'll see what we can do. Yep. I may adjust it down a little bit on my end. Let's see, did that affect anything? Thank you very much for the coin toss, Coleman. How are you doing today? I was watching you build a tank earlier, so I hope you're doing well. It sure looked like an interesting build. Much less flexible than some of the tank treads that I'm used to seeing, but at the same time, that's probably more stable. In any case, we are working on... Good midnight! Yes, hello! Welcome. Oh, hang on a minute. Why is the game screen in front of me? Yay, scuff! Let's see about moving that. There we go. Okay. Ooh, actually, I could probably put it in there. Warlord Games tank kit for bolt action minis game. A lot more simple and rugged. Hey, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so that should now be behaving a little bit better. Alright. There we go. Yeah, weirdly, the ad manager isn't even giving me a countdown like I normally would, so if I suddenly get an ad on my stream, please let me know, because it's just acting funny. I guess, again, really it is time to upgrade OBS, but, I'll do that when I'm forced to, and I guess I'm now being forced to. So, Today's project, as you can see, is So That Others May Live. Not cleaning up your mess, Lamau, but definitely wanted to come say hi and lurk a bit. Hey, fair enough, fair enough. Your OBS is still unupdated. I was forced to update it a little while back because it was not talking to chat. And so like I was having some weird login issues, but I still was trying. I'm still on OBS 29, not OBS 30 or 31, whichever it is now. But I have upgraded my processor since that came out, so I may be able to handle it now. I just know it was eating up whole threads of my processor for a minute there, so it is what it is, right? But yeah. Oh, can you hear the music that I've got playing in the background, by the by? Right now, it's a piece... Gentle soft tune, yeah. Right now, it's a piece from a game called Baten Kaitos, Eternal Wings in the Lost Ocean. Absolutely great game. I know the first one got an HD update for the Switch a while back that Castor was actually playing for a while. I don't know if the sequel got the same update treatment, but either way, both great games for the GameCube. Absolutely adorable. I shouldn't say adorable. Eventful, epic, wonderful playthroughs. There's some jank because it's, you know, GameCube JRPG, but it's pretty cool. It's a fantastic story and well worth the little bit of gameplay jank. But yeah, cool. Alrighty. So, as you can see here, we are working on a new update for So That Others May Live. We've got a brand new cover. The back cover has not been finished yet, but the front cover, I think I've shown off a couple of times in a couple of different threads. But we've also got a new format for it, so that we're planning to make it essentially a pages format that is printable. So that anybody can make it at home on a standard printer, and plus it's a little bit tighter, a little bit easier to see, and it organizes the game a little bit more nicely. We also did a huge editing pass to make sure that everything is understandable by people who don't normally play these kinds of games. Like, I actually farmed it out to a few of my friends who are aware of TTRPGs, but they don't usually play this kind of TTRPG. And so, basically I got them to add a whole bunch of questions, and that way I could answer them, and essentially like make edits that at least made it like understandable, so that when they read it, they were like, oh, I get it now. I understand how this is supposed to go. Up to and including adding things like, developer commentary in the middle here. Because like all of the developers sitting around the table were like, yes, 4- makes all the sense in the world. This is completely trolly. It is exactly not what you expect to hear when you play 6-sided die games, and that kind of like influenced how the game was designed, because it is focused more on when you lose things rather than when you gain them. But that confused people who were outside of our circle, and so we've added the little blurb here of, why do you say 4- instead of 5+? Because it's entirely a mood thing. 5+ gives you something to strive for. It's positive in both literal and figurative terms. 4- feels inherently wrong. It's negative, something to avoid, a harbinger of doom. And since this game is all about choosing how your characters' lives get worse with each decision, that felt appropriate. And so, like, actually just saying that out loud also helps convey the vibe of the game way better to people who are not, like, immediately on board by our story on the first couple of pages, you know? So yeah. And we were able to reformat things so that, like, all of our charts fit on single pages with little blurbs to give them additional, information. We've got creating characters. Again, all of our charts fit nicely in single pages. We've got some space left over for some art that we want to add eventually. It's not done yet, but it is art that we want to add eventually. Keywords, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah. It's a fun game. Yep, you can see me making some notes over there about add some art. Oh no, y'all know my screen name. Oh no. The pseudonym that I've worked under. Oh no, that I've been completely not precious about hiding if anybody ever actually like looked around. Oh well. Creating a disaster. Yep, we've got some more space for art there. And like, oh yeah, no, oh no, oh no. But no, it's fine. Like my VTuber persona is very linked. It will forever remain a mystery. Yep. I mean, it's very much the artists paying artists thing and trans people paying trans people thing on PayPal. I do not see the dead name. You do not see my dead name, kind of a thing, you know. But yeah, we printed these out, a couple of these, because we were still worried about the actual font size, but it actually came out looking really crisp. Essentially, it's on, I forget what they call it. It's like notepad or something size paper. It's essentially what you get when you fold a normal like letter size paper, the 8.5 by 11 inch, in half. And the way that we've got things laid out means that you can kind of very easily print it so that you can essentially make a little zine out of it. And so when we go to some conventions in the future, I'm actually going to be printing some of these out to either hand out or sell as zines. And that's going to be fun as hell, in my opinion. I am a little concerned about the color gradient that we got here, because when we did our test prints, like some of the lighter grays that we have in the file did not show up, so I may be making some adjustments to those in future updates to the game. I don't know, maybe I'll go with a different color than gray. Gray felt right because it's all about disasters, and gray feels easier for people to print at home, but I don't want to go too dark with our main gray in order to, like, you know, show a little bit more gray in the categories, because I don't want this text to disappear. So something still to experiment with, you know? I know that if I went to a professional printer, it would come out fine, because like that's what professional printers do. But the goal here is for people to be able to print these on their own printers at home. The cover is going to be a nightmare for home printers. I apologize for that, but I'm going to try and format it in such a way that you can just ignore the pages with the full color cover on it and just, you know, print without it. Space for art. Talking about GM stuff. Ooh, I do need to still add examples of what progress clocks look like, because like, I know what a progress clock looks like. Most people who are super into TTRPGs know what a progress clock looks like. But people who are not do not. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to... How far down can I bump this before I start losing lines? Okay, that's how far. So we're going to put space saved for progress clocks. And we're going to move where that note is at. I'll do this off stream, because like otherwise you're just going to see me like sitting here staring at my own tits. Because, you know, I don't really have a clean way to stream from my tablet to my computer right now. But hey, that means that is going to change a little bit of that. Oh, but I was already saving some space for art down here anyway. So, excellent. That didn't actually change anything then. Hooray! Yep, we've got a whole full page of art there. And here is the part that I was actually, yeah, Ted's mentioned. I mean, look, you know, part of increasing my ability to move around is really and truly just to show off my absolute shelf that I have going on. Because, I mean, really, I'm proud of my assets, you know. Yeah, that is bad. Shelf confirmed. Exactly, exactly. I can very easily balance things on them. It's great. Although drinks, I have learned my lesson because those bitches are cold. Slips your backlog over for storage. Fair enough, fair enough. Oh, oh, Coleman. Oh, okay. So, I don't remember if I mentioned it on your server, but we've been getting a whole bunch more furniture around here. We've been changing some of like how our living spaces were arranged, and so I ended up with, thanks to some efficiency saving stuff, a whole lot more storage that I have easy access to rather than my long-term storage where a lot of my kits were at. Ah, I need to take a picture of my backlog now because my backlog is now sitting in is now actually in my office. I might need more storage. Coleman, I have enough kits to start a small model section at a store. And that's not including my Games Workshop kits, which are still in like 2 or 3 storage totes out in the outdoor storage. So, I have so many things to build. I have so many things to build. Like I thought I was actually getting to the end of my stuff, and no, I was not. Anywho, yeah, that's just I'll take a picture and post it later. It's a thing. Okay, so today's main project is actually going to be writing one of these pieces of like example lore that we have going on for people who want to play the game but don't really want to create their own world. Yeah, so far we've got Consequence Management Core, which is very much like a head to bed and lurk, but good luck with the work. Thank you very much. Consequence Management Core is kind of like, hey, there was a wizard war and it destroyed most of the world, and now you all are charged with like saving people from the various natural and magical disasters that happen. That one's pretty much one and done. It's good to go. Sabotage International, also referred to as the Phoenixes, is an XP on the old Thunderbirds, puppet or I should say super marionation shows. They get very, very particular about the fact that they're not puppets, they're super marionettes. And it's a little bit of commentary on the fact that like international rescue in that is still very much, oh, we're rich billionaires, doing good for the world, but like, so this is basically like, I did a thing called the League of Former Empires that are all required by international law to contribute to this international rescue group and essentially fix all the problems they caused in other countries for hundreds of years. Graveyard Shift, which is all about essentially kind of like a bunch of, or like a small group of supernaturals who go into extremely dangerous areas to, remove kind of like the spookies and the scaries. So think like, oh, there's been a zombie outbreak, or there's an infestation of ghosts, or things like that. Very, very fun. United Cosmonautics S&R is, very much kind of like, if you know like retrofuturism with a Soviet aesthetic, that's United Cosmonautics S&R. Very good stuff. If you've seen The Expanse, it's got a bit of that vibe to it. Very much about, like saving people on luxury space stations or like, in near-Earth atmosphere, that sort of a thing. And then we've got St. Omel's Medical Service, which was inspired by the Trauma Center video game series. It is all about a group that is, dedicated to not just medical stuff, but also search and rescue, obviously, because that's the entire game, but, pushing the edge of like triage technology and life-saving stuff. So, This one specifically encourages a little bit more interpersonal drama because, you know, again, if you've never played the Trauma Center games, it's Grey's Anatomy cranked up to 11 in the most anime visual novel way possible. And then today's project, which I haven't named yet, is essentially, I want it to be a Tron XP. I want it to be all about programs living and working in a computer and dealing with the various things that they do because, you know, hey, what was Tron if not an antivirus program, you know? So I'm not going to title it yet because we're just going to be kind of winging it. But yeah, I'm just gonna kind of start working at this point. If you all have any questions about what I'm working on, if you want to know what the music is, well, Tron mentioned exactly. Yeah, if y'all have any questions or anything like that, just let me know, and I will do my best to answer them. I really should get some sort of automation going to track what's currently playing. Just today you started watching a playthrough of Soma, which is an interesting premise of a story. Yes, Soma is fantastic. I've played through the entire thing and seen both endings, and yeah, it is. It deals with some of the more interesting and precarious bits of self-digitization and things like that, as well as the remnants that we leave behind both as artists and just as people. Yeah, it's a really sad game, but also something that's a little bit hopeful. I won't spoil much more about it than that, since you're just now watching a playthrough. Um, hmm. Okay, I can get rid of this now. Should I start it off with the in a world? Like every cinematic trailer ever? I think I probably will. Hmm. Oh. Oh wow, we really are jumping around genre-wise, aren't we? Hmm. Let's see. Okay, so, we can't go with programs, necessarily, because that's very, I mean, we could, it's a generic word, but it would make it very obvious that we're doing a Tron XP. I don't want to go with agents, because that's a dirty word now due to Tech Bros, that I'm very clearly taking the piss out of in this paragraph anyway. I'm gonna plug in programs. No, that would feel bad, because then I would leave it and forget to come back to it later. Let's see. What's it? I would like to create an acronym that's not currently a program type. So, like, GIF is graphics interchange format, right? Program is very generic. Agent is also generic, but it's, again, we can't really use that. Oh, where did I put my thesaurus? That real quick. Oh, fantastic theme to come up while I'm looking for this. Because this is Return of the Sixth World from the Shadowrun Returns soundtrack. Like, if I was being more directly programmery, I would just call them daemons. But could call them protocols. That doesn't really feel right, you know? Envoys? No, that's a little too much. Assistant, it feels very corporate. Assistant feels like, oh, we're talking about Siri or Copilot or whatever. Lector, maybe. Mover, intermediary, negotiator, Proctor's not bad. Operative, operator, promoter, representative, workers. Let's try program instead. Oh, hello?
Hey, Mom! I'm having trouble with that dance move you showed me earlier.
Okay, sweetie, show me what you got then.
Up and down and...
Okay, I see where you've gotten a little bit off track. Give me just a second to start up an ad and I'll be right with you, okay, Lila? Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and take us to a break. I'm going to run an ad while we're there. You don't have to sit and watch if you've got an ad blocker, whatever. It does help us, keep doing this a little bit more often. So yeah, stand up, stretch, walk around, get yourself a snack, refresh your drink, all that good stuff. We'll be back in 5 minutes, okay? Alrighty, sweetie. So, it's gonna be just a jump to the left. You're gonna take a step to the right, alright? So your hands out like that, right? So you take a step, and a step, and a step. Okay, I am still trying to figure out another turn for these things. So let's look up the actual definition for a programming daemon. Because that's essentially what we're talking about. And actually, like, now that I look up the actual exact definition of it, a daemon is a program that runs in the background process rather than being under the direct control of an interactive user. Like, that is exactly what we're looking for here. So is there something else we can use here? Oh, yeah, that explains why other people don't necessarily know it. This is specifically used, or this term is specifically used in Unix-based systems, which is what I originally learned on when I was real young. Okay, so what other terms are used in other... Alternative terms include service, which is used in Windows from Windows NT onward and later also in Linux, started task, and ghost job. I could go with ghost because there's a nice connection between like ghost in the machine and this. Sometimes more general term server or server process is used, particularly for daemons that operate as part of a client-server systems. Daemon that connects to a computer network is a network service. Disk and execution monitor. Okay, that's a backronym. Monitor might not be a bad one. I'm going to go with task monitors because that makes use of a couple of different terms that are actually worked into like how programming is talked about without without directly using something that is exactly a thing that we use nowadays. Okay. There we go. Okay, that fits a little bit more nicely. Yep. That gets its own line. I like that. Okay. That will eventually be how we get into the why this is important. Yep. Give me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself real quick. Okay, had to fill out some paperwork for somebody real quick. It may happen again at some point over the course of the stream. We hope not, but we'll see. We'll see. Hang on. Okay, real quick, I am gonna go check something. So I'm gonna leave the stream running. I'm not gonna send us to another commercial break or anything. We just got back from one, but I am gonna mute and yeah, hopefully it'll take me less than 5 minutes. Oh, all right. Thank you very much for your patience, folks. Trying to get some paperwork filled out for some health stuff. Yep. Thank you very much for the lurk and for the hydrate, Toxian. I appreciate that more than you know. I am super glad that I managed to get the music working for today's stream as a result of all that. I may get a phone call later. That would interrupt stream pretty badly as well, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Essentially, like we're just trying to get some paperwork together to get the kids some medical treatment elsewhere. Alina is a great caster, but she doesn't like teeth stuff is weird for her. Like, I don't know why. It's just she can't. Like she can like. It's I guess the teething process of kids that are both goblin and elven is a little more complicated than what she's used to dealing with. So we're having to make sure that all of like date of birth, all that, you know, medical stuff. You got to get all your paperwork in order. But in any case, let's get back to it. Often shortened to just monitors, these programs begin to work in the background of the network, not controlled directly by the programmers or users, but maintaining the systems for all. Vaguely aware of the fact Nothing. Okay, so I feel like that first column kind of establishes the world of whatever this is. Ooh, this is another good one. Is this Bokuro no Tayo or Zokuro? Zoku Bokuro no Tayo. Okay, so this is the second Boktai game, and the theme used for the past. Whenever you are playing a section of the game that's taking place in a previous time. It's a really fun game series. If I could stream it, I would, but I haven't figured out how to... well, like, getting a Game Boy Advance signal to a computer, known problem, easy solution. But because the Boktai games also use a solar sensor, and, you know, how intense sunlight is on that solar sensor, figuring out how to deal with that has been a challenge. Because I own both the first and the second game in the series, as well as the fourth. The third one never came to the United States, so I don't own that one. Although I could probably get a copy of it nowadays, come to think of it. Something to think about later. The floods of data disrupt the order of things. Surges of electricity. Burnout. Burn runners out of their circuits. Damage data packets. I'm probably going to write too much and then have to edit it down into something more manageable. That's how working on all of these other settings has worked so far. Like, optimally, like, it all has to fit on one page. Optimally, that's somewhere around 250 words. So I'm over-explaining things at this point, just to kind of, like, give myself a lot to work with, and then I'll make it more snappy later. It's one of those, oh, what's the turn of phrase? Make it first, make it good later, I think is something, it's something along those lines. Ooh. Maybe the task monitors are the specific... No, because I like task monitors as a generic term, so what can be the term for the group that's specifically watching out and protecting... Like, watching out for and protecting the digital realm. I might have to go back to my thesaurus here for a second. Ooh, solution isn't a bad one. What else? Negotiator, proctor, proxy. Servant feels bad. Surrogate, maybe. Okay, so I'm thinking user something proxy. Again, because if we're going through a Tron XP, like, this is where the actual users are getting more involved in this, in solving things. Like, the actual task monitors, I'm sure, have some limited capabilities to fix these systems themselves, but, like, this is a kind of, like, the IT professional stepping in and fixing something that's going wrong with the network, you know? So... User... User interaction proxy? UIP? Is that anything? Ooh, maybe I could do programmer interaction proxy. Because then they're the pips, you know? I'm gonna go with that for now. Okay, we also should come up with a nice term for the digital world. We can't use the grid because obviously that's, you know, a Tron thing specifically. The circuit burns them out. Okay, we would have to change the thing there. The network is good. We'll have to define that a little bit early on. Ooh, let's call them. Let's go ahead and call these guys programs. I know I spelled that wrong. I knew there was an S in there. Okay. Alright, so we need to do more description for the pips. So let's go back to some of these earlier ones and like these earlier sections and see how much more we can shorten them down, make them like punch them up. Interconnected. Rise of network. Became inevitable. Oh, oh, hang on. I gotta mute and I'm gonna lose tracking here for a second.
I hate to interrupt your stream, my little flower, but there's a customer issue out front. Just the former.
Well, it seems like it's time to run a commercial anyway. Okay, hang on. Oh, thank you, V. But yeah, it seems like it's time for me to run a commercial anyway, so I'm gonna call back whoever that was, and hopefully we'll finish that up before the 5-minute timer runs out. Alright, we'll be back real soon. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and take care of whatever this problem is. Yay, I love getting upsetting emails immediately after I go on a break. And for my phone call that I was getting in the middle of that to be completely pointless and unnecessary. But those are problems for later. Um, hmm. Referring to it as a curiosity. Quickly became new focus of study. Those involved in building the systems it inhabited. There we go. Okay, that feels better. No, not stuffy. Study. Concern. Those involved in building the systems. No, that's disruptive. Okay. It changes the shape of the paragraph in a way I don't like. I've already thumbed my nose at the tech bros in the first part of this sentence, so I guess that's not really necessary. Things that branched off from the basic. No, from the underlying algorithms. Hmm. The underlying programs. Human intervention. Port. These. Pendant. Open. Lives of their own. In the background of the network. Not controlled directly by system. They were vaguely aware of the fact that something or someone created them. No idea. It's kept them safe. Against dangers of their new world. Okay, this is starting to feel a little bit better, but I still feel like I can make that shorter. It's the world's digital technology, because, like, I'll get around to moving this section up once I figure out how to shorten this up. Hello, Valdaris! Things have been going well. Today is the first of what I'm hoping will become an ongoing series of streams where I work on TTRPG stuff on stream with y'all. So I'm pretty much just kind of like, I'm here to do some chatting, you know, kind of interact with people, being treated as kind of a co-work stream and listen to some amazing video game music alongside me, ask questions about the game I'm working on, or just kind of chill out and vibe, you know? Be aware that I may occasionally need to step away for, you know, like normal work because people, like not everybody has gotten the memo yet that I'm actually like doing other things right now. And so even though my day is, my schedule's a little more loose right now, I may still occasionally be needed for other things. So yeah, if I suddenly mute myself and then like lose tracking, it's probably because I just got like a phone call or something. But yeah, how have you been? Are you doing well? "100% down for video game soundtracks and chill." Hey, fair enough. Fair enough. You're ever more interconnected. Okay, that looks nice. Doing pretty dang alright. Finally got back online recently after having none for a couple of months. It was very boring. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. Like, I have plenty of work that I can do offline, but so much of my, like, social network these days is digital. So much of the work that I do is, you know, in Google Drive and things like that. Obviously, like, I can still write in real life, but I would then at some point want to transfer it to a digital format so that it could be distributed later. And then, of course, there are also streams. I was offline for a good 3, almost, maybe it was 4 weeks. Oh my goodness. Because of how much work we were doing here at the Come and Go, rearranging furniture and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, no, like it is rough. But yeah, glad to be back. And I'm glad you're back. Ooh, thank you very much for the subscription. Hello, 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 weather. Thank you very much for the hydrate. Much appreciated. That finished off one glass of water for me, so I'll move on to my next one. How are you doing today, Weather? You can slurp that hydrate. Here, let me just give you that good suck. Chillin' ate some egg muffins now. Ooh, egg muffins sound great. I had some waffles with like a vanilla and honey extract. I shouldn't say honey extract. Honey is an extract. Like vanilla and honey syrup for breakfast this morning. It was absolutely amazing. Health stuff is in the way of you doing anything these days offline. 100% of your social online. Aww! Is it the kind of health stuff that will get better with time and like some maintenance stuff, or is it just kind of something you have to live with now? Like, no moral judgment either way. I'm just, just asking in a very general way, because I know people who are permanently in a health situation. I mean, I guess technically I am kind of, but that's neither here nor there. I'm still much better off than a lot of other people I know. Just because, yeah, the entertainment industry is much harder on your body than most people realize it is. Like, oh my goodness, some of the dancers I've known, even by their mid-20s, had really gnarly fucked up feet. And that's with good medical treatment. Not to mention all of like the carpenters and stuff I know. Like, I'm quite frankly shocked that our local smith still has all of his digits. He's very, very, very suspicious about the normal word for the things on the end of your hands that allow you to grip stuff. So it's kind of rubbed off on me a little bit. But yeah, the fact that he's been smithing for probably close on 20 years now and still has all 10, fucking wild. You know what I mean? He's very, very careful. So yeah, I get it. Health stuff sucks. This digital realm was noticed quickly. Tech industry. Remain hidden from the general public. About a week for the next brain wizard to take a look at me and see if they can fix it or if body just be permanent, no working. Ooh. Ooh, that sucks. Oof. Well, good luck there. Like, nerve damage is no joke. Like, I know a few people with pinched nerves in their backs, one of whom has a pinch so bad that they slipped 4 discs, 2 in their neck and 2 in their lower back. And it is, the healers were able to fix it for the most part, but there's still some lingering damage that everybody's been like, the term I heard was it was being chased down. Like, they're trying to figure out exactly what's wrong is the problem. I was going to be going on a boat trip. Ooh, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Focus of study for those involved in building it. Okay. So as technology became ever more interconnected, the rise of the network became inevitable. Though this digital realm was noticed quickly by those in the tech industry, it remained hidden from the general public. They kept it hidden from the general public. How about that? A lot of big words and medical terms I do not know, but I trust they know what they are doing. But anyway, what are you working on? Okay, so today's TTRPG project is a setting example for a game called So That Others May Live. Stomel, as it's abbreviated, is a search and rescue game that uses D6 to kind of work your way forward through various disaster situations in whatever world you're playing in. There are only 3 classes in the game, and decisions are driven by questions you ask as you play through things. So here, let me scroll way back up and kind of show you some of the stuff we've got here. So whenever you are rolling the dice, it is D6s exclusively, 7 of them at the most for anybody who's making a decision. That means essentially like all players can have their own 7 dice if you want to have your own, or there can be just dice at the table. The GM needs no dice. They are there to merely facilitate and make sure that things are moving along, to help create the story, and then help the characters and the players, I should say, further that story in creative and interesting ways. So there are only 3 kinds of checks in the game, and these are problem checks. So you might either run into a big problem, which requires looking at the bigger picture. How do you save the most people, even if it means sacrificing a few? What problems can you see that smaller-minded folks can't? Hard problems, which require making difficult decisions, no matter the consequences. Do you doom one person to save 5? Do you put someone out of their misery but add to your own? And then there are delicate problems, which require a deft hand and careful consideration. What can you say to calm someone in a panic? Can you stop the shaking long enough to stitch an artery shut? Obviously, this is a fairly brutal game, but it is meant to be a heroic game. So whenever you come up against an issue, it's given a difficulty rating, and you are allowed to approach the situation in whatever way makes the most sense to you. A GM might suggest that this is a big problem, but if you want to, attack it like it's a hard problem, you might be able to do that, but that may raise or lower the difficulty rating, various things like that, right? Each class handles one type of check better than the others, and another type worse. So we'll get to what that means in just a second. But the idea is that when you tackle the problem, you roll a number of dice equal to its difficulty rating. So if it's a big problem with a difficulty rating of 4, for instance, you'd be rolling 4 dice for it. You will always succeed. Like, that's the thing in this game. It's very much an always succeeding. You are moving forward. But for every result of a 4 or less on the dice, a 4 minus, you have to choose to answer one of the questions associated with the type of check that you made. Each question can only be answered once by each player until that player has answered all of the questions for that type of check. And these are like little checklists that you can give out to the players. And why would I say 4 minus instead of 5 plus? It is entirely a mood thing. So 5 plus is extremely positive. It gives you something to aim for. You're really trying to get those 5 pluses. Think in terms of like Shadowrun or Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar, where like, oh, you hit on a 5 plus, you want to get those 5 pluses. 4 minus feels inherently wrong. It's something that you want to avoid. It feels negative. It feels icky. It's gross. And so since the vibe of the game is all about essentially making your characters' lives more difficult as the disaster gets worse and as they try to save more people, it felt more appropriate for us as designers to describe it as 4 minus instead of 5 plus. So let's take a look at the questions for Stonewall. So these are your basic questions, but there are bonus questions that you can do or that you can get to reduce difficulty based on your class. We'll talk about those in just a moment. So your basic questions are, when you tackle a big problem, as I said before, you're trying to see the big picture, right? Creating a big effect, being aggressive. When things go wrong, the consequences tend to be big as well. So the questions here are, who fights back? What cracks? When does it give? Where does it lead you? Why did it work? And how does it go wrong? So we've got the standard 6, who, what, when, where, why, and how. And that's going to be the same for each type of check. But all of these are incredibly open-ended. They can be, like what cracks is a great example, because is it talking about a piece of physical infrastructure? Is it talking about, like somebody's bones? Is it talking about somebody's mental state? Those sorts of things. Is it talking about the trust that this crowd has in you as their rescuer? All of that sort of fun stuff. And so, like, all of these questions are designed to be similarly open-ended, to allow for interpretation in that way. But there's some guidance going on for each, type of problem. For hard problems, you're making tough decisions, protecting others. That means you're often risking yourself, either mentally or physically. So that should guide some of the mindset of how you're going to be answering these questions in play, right? As I said before, there are a total of 3 classes. These are meant to be very broad. You can either pick thematically or mechanically. So we encourage people to take a look at these things before, actually looking at them. So veterans, these are the people who've been through a lot. They've experienced and can see the big picture very, very easily, right? But that also means that they have baggage and don't always remember to take care of the little things that are important. They get hung up when forced to make a choice that affects them personally, but are generally all right when it comes to talking things out. So tackling big problems are easier for them. They get -1 difficulty rating to that. Tackling hard problems, though, actually more difficult for them, but they're still okay at dealing with difficult problems. Bulwarks, on the other hand, can take a hit both mentally and physically. That means they're prepared to make hard decisions and protect others, but it also means they tend to put themselves in more danger than is strictly necessary. Their bluntness means that they aren't bad at dealing with bigger issues, but that they are also terrible at matters of delicacy. So they're okay. They don't have any adjustment to difficulty ratings on big problems. They have an easier time with hard problems, but they are not good at delicate problems. And then conversely, medics can soothe both body and mind and are often the smartest of the bunch. This means that they don't give up on people in situations long past when others might have, but that they can be as much of a bane as it is a boon. Their laser focus can make them miss the forest for the trees, but they usually don't have any issues making tough calls. So they have problems focusing on the big picture, but they see the small picture. They're okay with hard problems because they're a little tougher than, some of the older folks, the veterans, but they are best for dealing with delicate problems, right? Making sense so far? Okay, moving into keywords. So each class, when you create the character, gets a set of keywords. So in standard play, that's 3 keywords from your class list. But if you are doing more of an extended play thing, so this is designed with single, like, one-shots in mind. But if you are doing like an extended campaign with the same team, you might instead start with 1 keyword and then gain a keyword after every successful op, or whatever you want to call them, every successful session. By invoking a keyword, you reduce the difficulty rating by 2, which might mean that, hey, if this is a thing that, like, let's say, we said a medic who is dealing with a delicate problem, right? So difficulty rating 3, delicate problem. Our medic already lowers the difficulty rating by 1, so now it's a DR2. They then invoke one of their keywords and basically are allowed to automatically move forward because that keyword reduces the difficulty rating to 0, right? But the cost for that is you are always guaranteed to have to answer at least 1 question. The question must always be answered when invoking the keyword, even if no dice come up a 4-. So, essentially, keywords allow you to significantly reduce, or I shouldn't say significantly, meaningfully reduce your difficulty at the cost of being guaranteed to have to answer a special question just for your class. So each class has their own keywords, so and these are meant to be kind of like shown off, bypass obstacle for a medic. or work methodically, or on the lookout, sanitize, calm the situation, patch it up. And you can kind of apply those keywords wherever it would make sense. So, calm the situation. Maybe this is a person, maybe this is a crowd that is starting to like lose their motivation, and they're starting to get scared, they're starting to panic. You can invoke that keyword and stop someone's suffering but add to your own. Sounds like your original paladin. Yes, seems pretty brutal but also pretty rad. Thank you. We worked really hard on this. Yeah, it is meant to be like those kind of those action movies or like the documentaries about search and rescue personnel of like, hey, these people go through hell to save others. So yeah, like invoking that calm the situation keyword means that, oh, okay, you've automatically passed this, you've moved forward. Most of the people are going to be okay, but you still have to answer the question, why aren't they listening? And again, that's interpretive. Maybe they're not listening because, they don't necessarily trust you, but they are now starting to form their own kind of leadership. And right this second, that's a good thing because they now have somebody who's taking responsibility for them. Maybe this is a representative that you can talk to directly in the future. Could be a boon, but that's also a problem because they're going to go to that leadership first rather than you, the people who are actually specialized in solving these sorts of situations, So, that's keywords, right? Everybody gets a trinket for free because that helps add to kind of how you form your character. Always fun stuff. And actually, funny enough, this game system started off as a way for us to tell more stories about a couple of characters that we had in D&D, because we had a paladin and a rogue who we had specialized around doing things like search and rescue. It's a long story. It's very strange. Will, who is one of the other designers on the game, and I got in the habit of like creating what we refer to as duos characters for like convention play and stuff like that. And so we would come up with gimmicks like that. And so after we stopped really playing D&D a lot, we were like, okay, well, how else would we use these characters? How else can we tell stories with these guys? And this is the result of that. So, big important thing, we do not track HP in this system. If you are injured, maybe, you work that injury into how you are acting in the story, but we're still not tracking HP. So, losing a character. In the event that all of the dice rolled for a check have a result of 4-, the player may choose to write their character out of the scenario in order to perform a heroic act, preventing all negative consequences for everyone else involved. While the game, as I said before, does not track hit points or other similar abstractions of health, this mechanic is meant to give players a way to choose to have a moment of noble sacrifice so that others may live. So this is that, like, okay, we are in a bad place. And actually, you know what? We considered adding a minimum difficulty rating for this as well, but it just came up with, sometimes when something should be something that you can do on your own, like that, things go wrong in a disaster situation. Houses collapse suddenly, all of that sort of thing. So yeah, like this gives the people a way to have their character go out in a blaze of glory and saving lives. But because of how quickly the system is at building characters, they can instantly come back in with a new member of the search and rescue team. And then there's a whole thing about creating disasters for the GM, paying attention to things like the environment, the type of the disaster, the immediate problem, and how the situation is likely to change, all that sort of stuff. But I feel like I've repped the game pretty well at this point. It is, like I said, meant for one-shots. It's fairly brutal. It very much is the kind of thing that everybody has to have an understanding of what kind of game they're going into before the game starts. So, like, oh my goodness, let me pull back up. yeah, here's half a page content warning. This game deals directly with scenarios arising from large-scale disasters, be they natural, magical, scientific, mythological, or other in origin. This means that there are certain subjects that are inherent to the game. Suffering, trauma, and death will likely be unavoidable. Other things may come up based on the nature of the disaster in play. We strongly suggest the use of player safety systems such as the X card by John Stavropoulos, the Script Change RPG Toolbox by Thoughty, and the establishment of lines and veils in the pre-session or session 0. This game is intended to deal with hard choices that need to be made to save as many lives as possible, not to traumatize the players. Again, we love making hard choices and difficult games, but we want our players to be safe. Content warning, possible instances of the big sad. Yep. Because like it's extremely cathartic, and I'm not here to debate the reality of the actual psychological effects of catharsis. That's a whole other thing. But it feels good to be the big damn hero sometimes, you know? And it feels good to take part in these kinds of stories, and it can be a meaningful way of reaching closure for people who've actually had some of these experiences in real life as well. As someone who grew up in a place where hurricanes were a constant worry, yeah, like I've lived through minimum 3, but I'm pretty sure it's 4 Category 5 storms in my lifetime. And one of those seasons involved like 4 Category 3 plus storms back to back to back. I think it was 2010. And life got real hard for about a month or so there. And so, like, you know, this is also, we poured that mindset into this of, you know, those who survive through these sorts of things, like, those stories are valuable. Those stories need to be told. The stories of the people who save people in those instances need to be told. But we don't want to hurt people, you know? And so that's why we were very careful. Like, we're doing art for this, but we are not ever going to use real photography of disaster areas or things like that for that art or anything like that, because that would be incredibly disrespectful. So it's threading a needle as far as content goes, if you know what I mean. But all of the playtests we've gotten to do so far have been incredibly fun and incredible character moments and all of those sorts of things. So, getting back to it, we have a whole bunch of examples of different kinds of world lore that you can kind of pull from. You can use them whole hog. You can just, maybe use 1 or 2 concepts out of them, or you can ignore them entirely and come up with your own worlds. But like, this is kind of the examples of what you can do with the worlds. So we have the Consequence Management Core, which is all about essentially wizards who are, trying to clean up the world in the wake of essentially magical doomsday. Magical storms, tearing apart continents, stuff like that. Then we have Salvage International, which is a play on the old Thunderbirds Super Marionation shows. If you're familiar with British media at all, you probably already know the Thunderbirds. Understandable, you'd only play this in non-reality settings because you only run into minor set. Hey, 100% valid. 100% valid. So this is very much a reference to the Thunderbirds and International Rescue, all that sort of fun stuff. So think in the terms of like super vehicles.
The gross bug inside again.
He did what? Does he still have a hold of it, or did he let it loose?
It's in a jar, but Lynn's looking at it like it's candy.
Okay. I'll be there in just a second, okay, Lynn? No, you're not Lynn, you're Dare. Oh my goodness, you just said, never mind. Yeah. I have 5 kids. It is what it is. Names are names, you know? We've also got a commercial break coming up soon anyway. So I'll talk more about the settings when I get back from that, okay? So obviously you don't have to sit and watch the commercials. It's nice if you do, or at the very least just leave them up on your screen so that, I can continue doing these sorts of off-time streams and all that sort of fun stuff, and it be a little more affordable for me. But we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so, okay? Alrighty. So, how big of a bug are we talking about? And does Lynn already have it? Okay, we are back. I had just enough time to get a snack for myself while I was away. Okay. So, already talked about the Sabotage International. Graveyard Shift is a bit more gothic, shall we say? Whereas more traditional search and rescue organizations focus on leading the charge into disaster zones. Hello, welcome back, and thank you very much. Graveyard Shift tends to bring up the rear thanks to the unconventional nature of their duties. Graveyard Shift is all about being essentially kind of, I don't want to say Ghostbusters, but like they're the people who go in and save those who could not be saved by others. Not in a question of skills way, but like, you know, there are ghosts trapped in this situation, or there's an outbreak of zombies, those sorts of things. Think necromancy, but in a constructive way. That's Graveyard Shift. Very fun, very spooky. I've gotten to run this one a couple of times, and it's peak if you can get the aesthetic right. United Cosmonautics. This one is all about, like, especially focuses on like near Earth rescue and like orbital stuff and like dealing with other worlds' atmospheres and things like that. And then St. Omel's Medical Service. You know, I had to have fun with the acronym of the game, STOML, so that others may live, once I noticed that. And this one was originally based around the Trauma Center series of video games for the Nintendo DS and the Wii. So think in the realms of like visual novel with kind of surgery mini games and stuff like that. So there's a lot of triage in this one. It's very interpersonal. Like drama is very encouraged in this one, that sort of a thing. I think Grey's Anatomy, but more anime, you know? And then right now, today's major part of the project is working on what I've been describing so far as a Tron XP. Because the idea is that, like, you know, very cyberpunky aesthetic, you know, very programmatic whites, blacks, and neon colors. Think back to like the Atari and the Commodore, those sorts of things. And again, the original, or like the Tron movies, particularly the digital realm portions of the Tron movies. So like, essentially, I'm writing way too much because all of these need to be a single page thing. And then I'm weaning down from there. So I've already done my write too much portion of this process. Whoa. Excuse me? What are we listening to now? Zone of the Enders. Uh-huh. Okay, yep. Yep. Appropriate for what we're talking about, you know? But in any case, we are kind of shrinking things down, figuring out what's actually needed for it. I think I've just about got this first paragraph locked in at this point. As technology became ever more interconnected, the rise of the network became inevitable. Though this digital realm was noticed quickly by those in the tech industry, yeah, I was going to say maybe those high up in the tech industry, but that's more words than necessary. I'm just going to go with those in the tech industry. Kept it hidden from the general public. Doing so allowed this nascent world to quickly fill itself with digital life without the disruption of too much observation. However, for those in the know, the network quickly became a new focus of study. So I wanted to move the description of PIPs, of pips, up to here, so that we're kind of discovering the world alongside these folks. items known as program interaction proxies. Pips. Gotta look at a world unlike anything we've ever experienced before. Get your coffee and come back to Shadow Hearts vibes. So, this is actually Anubis Zone of the Enders. Funny enough, very, very in theme with what we're talking about right now in this particular setting. Since this setting is based around similar concepts to Tron, and Anubis Zone of the Enders had a lot to do with advanced computers developing their own personalities and things like that, as well as the use of human brains to create said networks and computers, resulting in the reemergence of said personalities. I love Zone of the Enders. There were a lot of things from that era that really picked it. What it meant to have free will, what it meant to be a person, that I think, unfortunately, a lot of tech bros took the wrong messages from. You catch my drift? Thought it was cool, but you only bought it for that MGS2 demo. Hey, I mean, fair. 100% fair. If you got a preference, you got a preference. Hmm. So let's move this up. That was your favorite giant robot era, though. Mech Warrior 3 and Armored Core 3 was peak for you. So, definitely agree with Mech Warrior 3, although Mech Warrior 5 does pretty damn well. But I gotta say, Armored Core 6 is fucking amazing. Not just from a graphics standpoint, although obviously like graphics have improved dramatically, but the controls feel good to me. Although if you're going for something that's a little more simulationist, then nothing will ever beat Steel Battalion. I don't know if you ever got a chance to play Steel Battalion on the original Xbox with the actual like custom Steel Battalion controller, but holy moly, it honestly to me feels better than the BattleTech arcade pods, which I've gotten to play at a few different conventions. And just because while the BattleTech arcade pods are more all-encompassing because it is a full pod that you're actually closed inside of, the Steel Battalion controls actually feel like well thought out controls. You did not really care for it. 6 was too fast and too short range for your liking. Hey, fair enough, fair enough. Like I'm the kind of person in combat who likes to get within short range. Like, I'm okay with a couple of hand-to-hand combat weapons, but most of my combat skills lie in essentially fisticuffs. Because, you know, what with being 3 feet tall, I'm just going to say an uppercut tends to hit people in the soft spot. And when you charge that with a little bit of magical electricity, people tend to fold pretty quickly. So, like, getting in under people's range where they can't, like, swing and hit me was very quickly something that got trained into me. And so I guess the shorter range of that really probably like works better in my brain as a result of that. Never got to play Steel Battalion, but we were there in the flesh for the battle pods, back when machine guns were king because super crits, and they'd blind the heck out of everybody else. You know, fair enough. Fair enough. As far as BattleTech goes, there is a variant of the Ryokan 2 that uses multiple, not railguns, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it was made famous by a particular House Davian named character, but I can't remember what her name was at the moment. But it has LRM racks plus a couple of those shorter range Gauss guns, like the short range ones. And man, is that mean. As for lighter mechs, though, probably my most success that I've ever had with a light mech was a customized Raven that used a snub-nosed PPC and a couple of... I think originally we had equipped it with machine guns for dealing with infantry, but eventually I moved over to like some modified small lasers. It may have been small pulse. I don't remember. But we managed to hack both mask and a turbocharger into it. So like its normal speed, its normal ass speed was like an excess of 10 plus. And I know I'm talking about the tabletop game more than anything else, but like in a game where most like things running go like 5, the fact that its normal speed was 10 plus was bonkers. Yeah, it's a light mech, so it was made out of paper, but it made it really, really easy to get up in things grundle and just blat that little snub-nosed PPC up at them. And it was fun as hell. Managed to boxcars my way out of surviving a nuclear blast, essentially, with that mech. Mech Warrior 5 is really good, you agree? Stop playing 4 after 19 years only for Mech Warrior 5. Remember us talking about this before? It's a Stormcrow. Okay, is it Stormcrow? Yeah. Well, you know. Every group calls it a different thing, you know? Okay, so let me focus on this a little bit. So is this just turning into a giant run-on sentence? The living programs that populated this world were dubbed task monitors, or monitors for short. And unlike the false AI touted by the tech bros of the early 21st century, they emerged from small Ooh. Let's change this a little bit to the beings. Small programs, more discrete purposes. Algorithms that naturally branched off the underlying systems. Algorithms that naturally branched off from the underlying infrastructure. You're big inner sphere guys. You always had to troll the clanners a bit with the IS designations. But yeah, you can talk Battletech all day, so you agree on me concentrating. I mean, hey, fair enough. Like, and okay, this is probably going to be slightly heresy depending on where in like the Battletech universe you are, as far as like keeping everything canon, like, or true canon. You can't see the massive air quotes, but you know, hopefully you hear them in my voice. True canon versus like things that are only mostly canon. Like I have a couple of friends who refused to play in the Dark Age and later stuff for a very long time because they were like, oh, it doesn't count because it wasn't in an original Battletech book. And it's like, okay, but it was created by the same guys who created Battletech, so like get over yours. Anyway, I think we've talked about that before as well. But like, the reason I bring it up is because House Arano from the Battletech video game, or I should say the most recent video game titled Battletech instead of Mech Warrior. FedCon Civil War never ended, lol. Fair enough. You know, so like, House Arano, tiny little house, but I am there for it all day. You know, woman-led and scrappy little country, as far as I'm concerned. I like the little guys. I like the underdogs. Gee, I wonder why. Algorithms that naturally branched off from underlying... already called them programs. Let's go underlying software. No, I mean, that still doesn't really feel correct. Better maintain the system. Maybe underlying automated software? Better maintain the system without human intervention. I have received a message. That is a message I can safely ignore for now. Okay. Glad to know that my screen doesn't refocus when I do that. Mm, 100% down with the Reagan Coalition being made canon because of their TRO release. Peripherally is the most fun you can have in universe. Oh, it 100% is. Oh, it 100% is. Because, like, it's the same thing you get in Lancer. Where, like, yeah, okay, you can be in the core worlds, but, like, it's gonna be kind of boring because, like, I mean, the core worlds are a solved problem, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has all the resources they need, everybody's taken care of, people are functionally living in a post-scarcity society. It's only out in the rhythm, like in the periphery and in the edges of civilization that. Oh. I love that, like I literally just shoved all of my video game music into a single playlist and hit shuffle. So like dramatic shifts into like weird kooky music from like Okami and stuff like that just happens every once in a while. But yeah, it's the best part of Lancer as well, like going out into the universe and trying to solve problems out on the edges. It's fun. Like that's where warriors are still needed. You don't need a warrior in a place where everybody's problems are functionally solved, you know? So we've already taken care of this sentence with the previous paragraph. We can go ahead and get rid of that. Someone created them. Monitors. Happy. They go about their business. And the pips. Kept them safe. Let's see. The pips runs above the monitors. We don't need to necessarily get into the theology of this universe here. Like, that's something for people to decide in their own games. Like, Tron very much makes use of the whole, like, oh, the programs are aware of the users to a limited extent, but they don't understand them. Maybe the monitors in this world are aware, maybe they're not. Not really for me to decide. Hmm. Hmm. Let's see. Well, let's see. We already discussed all of that. We already described the program interaction with hips. Hmm. Okay, hang on. I'm just gonna get rid of this first sentence first. I'm gonna take a better read over the entire thing. It's about their roles as observers in order to keep the monitors safe. Things that seem innocuous to the users on the outside. To everyday users, such as a sudden influx of data, power fluctuations, and network corruption, are the network's equivalent of disasters. Floods made of data. They're all from the perspective of a program. Flood of data. May as well be a wall of water. A surge of electricity might burn them out of their home circuits. There's a line between revealing their true identities, saving the budding world they care so much about. Pips must do everything they can to abate these digital disasters. I'm gonna go with a difficult line instead of dangerous. Okay, so let's take another read over this and see how this feels. As technology became ever more interconnected, the rise of the network became inevitable. Though this digital realm was noticed quickly by those in the tech industry, kept it hidden from the general public. Doing so allowed this nascent world to quickly fill itself with digital life without the disruption of too much observation. However, for those in the know, the network quickly became a new focus of study. After developing the systems known as Programmer Interaction Proxies, or PIPs, those who dived into the digital realm discovered a world made up of sleek black and white surfaces rimmed in glowing neon colors. Beings that populate this world were dubbed task monitors, or monitors for short, and unlike the false AI touted by the tech bros of the early 21st century, they emerged from small programs with more discrete purposes, algorithms that naturally branched off from the underlying automated software to better maintain the system without human intervention. It's only when things go wrong that the pips rise above their roles as observers to keep the monitors safe. I think we can just get rid of in order. Things that seem innocuous to everyday users, such as a sudden influx of data, power fluctuations, and network corruptions, seem like minor inconveniences. Everyday users, such as a sudden influx of data, power fluctuations, and network corruption, packet corruption. There we go. Are the network's equivalent of natural disasters. After all, from the perspective of a program, a flood of data may as well be a wall of water, and a surge of electricity might burn them out of their home circuits. There we go. Okay, that... Running the line between revealing their true identities and saving the budding world they care so much about, the pips must do everything they can to abate these digital disasters. I don't know. I'm going to have somebody else from our development group read over it before I hit the publish button, but that feels pretty good. Now, what do we call it? Because we can't just call it the Tron XP. The network protectors, protecting the network. Like, that feels the best of everything I've said out loud so far, as far as a title goes. Enrot, and their favorite sport is Dark Cycles. Yeah, kind of, yeah. Like, That's exactly kind of where I'm at brain-wise. Like, a lot of this is parody stuff. A lot of it is just kind of getting people in a mindset. But like everything else has been every other title so far has been the name of an organization. You know? I guess I could just call it Pips. No, you're fine, you're fine. I was waffling on it just as much as you were. So, like, no worries. Oh, okay. A new focus of study known as Pip that you think is good? Sounds techie? Okay, fair enough. I could add a new area of study known as what? Because I can either go with Pip or Pips. I don't know which. No, you know, we'll go Pip. Or I could come up with an actual, like, name for this, like, I don't want to call it a degree track, but, like, that's the thing that pops into my mind because of where I come from educationally. Oh, hello?
Mom, can you help me get a snack off the high shelf?
I mean, I can, but are you taller than me at this point, sweetie?
Yeah, but you have that grabby spell that I don't.
Okay, that's fair. Give me just a couple of minutes and I'll come help you. Yeah, I might just be reaching a little too far at this point. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there for the time being. I'm gonna keep a note for myself about the name. There we go. So that when my other fellow developers read over it, they will have the chance to kind of add their own thoughts on this. Change to half letter size. Half letter, that's the name of the size. Name formatting pass. Example settings added to the example lore section, added the front cover. Okay. Let's see. So if I set us to a commercial break now, I would feel the need to go for another 40 minutes to my normal end time, but this actually kind of feels like a good place to end for the day because, like, this is nice and wrapped up, and that way I can deal with the pushing these files out to the live version of the project on my own. So I think we're going to go and see if we can find anybody online to send everybody off to. It's ending a little bit earlier than I would end one of my normal streams, but today is kind of experimental, so here we are. So let's head back over to the Just Chatting screen and find a place to send you all off to. Okay, folks, so thank you very much for joining me for my very first TTRPG work stream. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to try and do these once a week from now on Tuesdays, middle of the day like my normal streaming time is. So 12 p.m. Eastern until at the latest 4 p.m. Although I know we're actually ending an hour earlier than that right now. Mostly because I don't want to send y'all to a commercial break and then immediately be like, oh, well, I'm out of work, you know? Thank you very much for joining. I hope you'll join us again in the future. I will be back on Friday, and that's going to be August 29th for more of the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker MSQ. We're in the post-Endwalker MSQ, getting into the back half of the patch quests. Until then, for more information about future streams, keep an eye on our Blue Sky at Come and Go Tavern for announcements and daily check-ins from the Come and Go. I have been your hostess, Sheela Ornthalis, and if you need to prop your feet up for a little while longer, we've got some more entertainment coming up soon via a raid. So let's see who is online. Ooh, let's see. Twixie is online. What's she up to? Yeah. Yeah, Twixie is streaming Subnautica, so let's go bother her. I don't know her super well, but, you know, say hi for me. All that sort of fun stuff. And I hope to see you next time. Maybe? Hello? Yeah, there we go. Ta-ta for now. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye-bye. Bye.